afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Moving Markets Podcast. It is Tuesday, September the 16th, 2025. And the U.S. stock market right now is about 20 minutes away from closing for the day. So we are still open, still trading on the day, but getting close to the close of the market. And it's been a down day mostly in the market, but nothing overly severe, nothing real major. And I guess what I mean by that is, you've got the Dow down about 1/3%. That's not a major move down. The S&P down 1/10%. And right now the Nasdaq is a tiny bit in the red, but it's been back and forth all day. The Nasdaq has been up today. It's been down today. It's mostly, I think, for the last couple of hours, you can see, mostly down. I think that is about the mark right there where it would be positive. Mostly down, but at several times today moving into positive territory. It's on just the tiniest bit of an upswing right now. It might move back into positive territory before we close. Down 5 points right now. That's 0.02%. That's basically flat. And the S&P, less than 0.1%. That's awfully flat as well. This is just consolidating ahead of the Fed announcement tomorrow. Everything going on right now is about what is the Fed going to do? What are they going to say? I think it's a foregone conclusion that the Fed is going to cut rates. I think it will be a surprise if they cut rates 50 basis points. I don't expect that. The betting market is not putting too much on that, just under 4%. I think there might be a 50 basis point cut. I'll reiterate what I said yesterday. I won't dwell on this a lot because I talked about it in enough detail yesterday, but I'll just reiterate it really quickly. If the Fed cuts 50 basis points, or if they cut 25 and sound very likely, and there's got to be some comments that sound not overly ambiguous, but very much in the direction of a likely rate cut in October and in December. If that's part of the commentary, you'll see the markets rise. And you won't see that little short-term sell-off that accompanies rate cut. You go back historically, and almost every time there's a Fed rate cut, I think it's 100% of the time, the markets are bullish over the next 6 weeks to 2 months. But the majority of the time when there is a rate cut, there is a buy the rumor, sell the news reaction, and temporarily for 1 to 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe, you see a 3 to 5% sell-off in the major indexes. I'm kind of expecting the latter. I think there will be a 25 basis point cut tomorrow. I think there will not be enough talk about future cuts that are stated with clarity. And even without an outright guarantee, yes, we will cut rates next meeting and the meeting after that. You're never going to get an outright guarantee like that. But unless there is something that is interpreted as a strong leaning towards that, then you're going to have a sell-off. I'm not sure if it will be as much as 5%. I think you can see a 2 to 3% sell-off in the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Dow following this rate cut. And that is honestly kind of what I'm expecting. I'm hoping it's very short-lived because we've got a few open trades that would short-term be negatively affected by that move. I'm okay with that in the sense that specifically with Palantir and NVIDIA, I think a short-term move might give us an opportunity to buy to close some short calls or reposition some short calls that are in a more advantageous place for us. And then I think short-lived sell-off will be followed by a much longer-term rally. And I think by end of October, early November, you're going to see these markets once again at new all-time highs. So, and a lot of individual stocks doing the same thing. So that's, today, I'm not trying to interpret or read into today one way or the other. From my perspective, today is kind of a nothing burger. It's just, even the little bit of sell-off on the Dow is kind of nothing in my mind. So not much more than that going on right now in terms of market moving kind of news. As it relates to our individual trades, we closed out Apple today, decided to take a 5 to 7% profit on that, depending where you're at. And I closed out Amazon, the trade that we opened yesterday, or some of you opened it this morning. Most of us got in for somewhere between $8 and as much as $8.05. And I was able to get out for $8.45 today. And even though that's only, just a fraction over a 5% return, it's a 1 day return. It's literally 5.2%. That's where mine ended up. 5.22%. And the trade was open for 1 day. I got in it yesterday, middle of the day. I was out of it by today, middle of the day, or maybe a little bit towards the latter part of the trading day. And what a phenomenal trade, and what a phenomenal quick hitter. I love to get 20 to 25, even 30% on a lot of trades. But man alive, when you can get 5% in a single day, that's just that is such a no-brainer to take that kind of return and get out. So out of Apple with profit, out of Amazon with profit. Our Netflix trade was profitable. Our Nvidia trade was profitable. We've got a great little run after Meta being a bummer trade, and CoreWeave a couple of months ago not being a great trade. We've had a pretty fantastic run. CrowdStrike, this is so much improved over where it was, and be watching emails tonight, later, and tomorrow morning, and watch Discord in the morning if you can. I would hate to see another sell-off on CrowdStrike. I'm very hopeful. Here's what I'm hopeful of on CrowdStrike. It's in a pretty strong bullish move that includes all technical crossovers over the last 2 weeks of trading. You've got the technical crossover right there on the RSI. You've got it on the 5 to 20-day moving averages. You go down here, you had it come on the MACD. Oftentimes the leading, not always, but oftentimes the leading one of these three indicators. It's not uncommon at all for the MACD to sort of change before the other two do. These are all good signs. CrowdStrike is on a very nice move back up. If CrowdStrike got back up here to where the all-time high was, back at the end of June, we would have an incredibly profitable trade, but only if that short call that we have on it first expires. Right now, we've got that short call setting at expiration at the end of this week. But what I don't want to have happen is for CrowdStrike to suddenly take a dive. And then 1 month or a little bit less than a month away from the expiration of our long calls, it becomes really difficult to get those long calls anywhere near into profitable territory. So that is my concern right now with CrowdStrike. So I might, as much as I want to see this trade get profitable, relative to how far we were down a couple of weeks ago, this is a loss I can live with. I hate losing money on trades, but sometimes you've got to do the pragmatic thing. And right now, the pragmatic thing on CrowdStrike might be take the loss, book it, and wait until after tomorrow's announcement, see where CrowdStrike goes. And if they sell off and cross back over into bearish territory, wait for them to test a new bottom and come back up. And right at those technical crossovers, go bullish, because I think they'd be longer term bullish following what I believe is going to be a little sell off on the three indexes following tomorrow's announcement. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out. But be watching, because there is a strong chance that we'll just decide to take what we can and get out of CrowdStrike. On the triple play side, was a trade that was open on both the spread and the SOS and the triple play trades. So hopefully you got out of Apple today. We're only in the diamond trade now going into tomorrow's announcement and the Home Depot trade. If you're still in Home Depot, again, keep an eye on Discord. Either, after the close today, I'm going to put in an order to close Home Depot, or maybe tomorrow morning. My worry with Home Depot, it's trading well above the strike prices of our options. We're in the money by $8 plus. The $412.50 option. We're more than, we're not too far off of $10 in the money. If what I'm worried about with the Fed really happens tomorrow, or the reaction to it, then everything could change. Home Depot could suddenly be a trade that's in trouble. So we're profitable in the trade. It's not quite the profit that we're capable of or what I would have liked. Were it not for the high volatility going on today, Home Depot is down a little bit today, but were it not for the high volatility, and they're almost, Home Depot's like on the verge of turning profitable again. They're only down 41 cents, and they have spent some time in the green today. But I really wanted to get out of the trade around $12.20, $12.30. This close to expiration, were it not for the implied volatility caused by the anticipation of tomorrow's announcement, we'd be more than where we need to be on Home Depot. I'm probably exiting that trade before the announcement tomorrow. So keep an eye on your Discord, keep an eye on your emails if you're in the Home Depot trade on the triple. All right, I'm going to wrap up right there. That's all I have for today. Markets are going to close in about 9 minutes. Looks like it's, the NASDAQ has now moved back into positive territory. The S&P almost, the S&P could rally into positive territory before we're done today. And I believe any move in the green would be a new high close for the S&P. The Dow, way off of its session lows. I know at one time I believe the Dow was down 200 points at one time today, which even that is not like some kind of a massive move to the downside. I'm not 100% positive, but I believe there's the one-day chart. I believe when we were kind of, right here in that first 30 minutes of trading, that might have been a couple hundred points down from where they're at right now. Maybe not. Maybe it only got to be about 160, 170 down. I'm not positive, but who knows? Maybe before we end in the next 8 minutes, maybe the Dow ends up in positive territory. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to sign off right there. Have a great rest of your Tuesday and have a good day tomorrow. Probably sometime shortly after the Fed announcement, I will record tomorrow's podcast. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.